Oh.
Live on the TikToks.
Oh, shit. I'm trying not to yank the phone here. Hey, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening to the UltraPerform Show, the show about performing your best at business and life. We normally have a nice little background here, but the computer was not cooperative.
The computer
I did work on it for like a half hour. It was like,
it is not performing its best in business and life at the moment.
It is not.
We overcome obstacles. Obstacles are opportunities on this show.
We can see it. If we had like a hot assistant,
we got
just
all kind of cool graphics that should be going on this TV. Yeah, but they're kind of slumming it by having me on, so it kind of makes sense. I was actually talking to my mom last night, and she's, "What are you doing?"
She still talks to you?
Oh yeah,
I was gonna make jokes.
Unbelievably, yeah. Oh, of course we are. Yeah, we better. No, but no, I was because she'll always, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend? What shows do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing a podcast this weekend," and she on Friday, and she goes. She used to like comedy podcasts and the type of trash podcast that'll actually have me on. Mm-hmm. And she said, "What is this?" It's called the UltraPerform Show. She said, "What is it?" I said, "I think it's more a show about being successful and doing well in life. And the best I can figure is they want to bring on an example of what not to do." So that's why I'm here. And that's why the TV's not working.
It's about pursuing your dreams. And
yes.
You're obviously out there. You're on Wiseguys every Wednesday
I
night.
am, and I want to say
sporadically throughout everything, you know.
This is going to be
January 24th, right?
January 24th, Wiseguys, Salt Lake City, headlining. I want to act like I'm just headlining the A room. Well, they got 2 A rooms at that club, but it's really the C room. It's the Rickles room.
So I forgot to give you the rundown. I'm going to ask you questions you'd think I know the answer to, just in case someone else doesn't.
Right. Oh, right? Yeah. I understand.
And then I might interrupt you sometimes just to get to a certain thing. But the question I was going to ask you is, what is an A room? What's a C room?
An A room would be like Tim Dillon, your top headliners, your most, and so Wiseguys downtown Salt Lake City. Most comedy clubs, even the A clubs, have 1 room, but Wiseguys in Salt Lake City has one that's like a little over 300. The showroom, the cabaret, which is another A room, it's about 250, and then they have some comedy clubs will have a small room as well. I'm in the small room. Because the
Rickles room.
The Rickles room.
Named after
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
My father's one of my father's 3 favorite comedians. I don't know what order they were in, but it was Don Rickles, Joan Rivers, and Robin Williams. Was my father's favorite.
Robin was awesome. Yeah.
But I think my father more liked his acting and the way he would ad-lib lines in movies than his actual stand-up. But it was probably Don Rickles was probably his favorite, I would guess. He's dead now, so I can't really clarify with him.
Maybe we could do a seance.
Inconsiderate bastard died.
Find someone that's schizophrenic to
channel, we were talking about that.
We were talking about that before the show. So why comedy? Why did you pursue comedy?
That actually.
When did you start? Like, tell us your history about.
Oh yeah, that actually ties into my dad. So it's kind of funny we were talking about that. I felt like my dad always groomed me. Well, groomed isn't the right word. He had always planned it. I don't think he ever intended for me to do stand-up comedy, but he was a fan of it, and he would always, he kind of planted these seeds, and he would tell me things about how, like Don Rickles and Joan Rivers, when celebrities would get offended at them shitting on him, he's like, "No, that's a badge of honor. They don't even understand what's going on there. You got to be big enough for them to shit on you."
To even know who you are.
Yeah, to shit on you in the first place. And a lot of times Don Rickles would shit on the people that he liked. He'd tell me things like, and I can't remember, I actually found the source on this one day. I can't remember the name of the comedian that said it, very old school guy. But he said, he would tell me, comics say funny things, but comedians say things funny. So he's talking to me about the delivery and
delivery's huge.
Yeah,
that's what I've learned doing comedy. It's such a huge part of it. You can tell a joke that's not that funny, honestly, but the way you tell it, you could make it funny.
Some people might not like when I said I can't remember which one it was, but it's the one where he blew his pants out. I just can't remember the name of a bunch of comics about a year ago. We're watching one of these Cat Williams specials, one of the older ones. I don't even know how old it was, but and we're about at least 7 minutes in, and he's killing. And I think it was 7 minutes, but I looked at the dude next to me, and Cat's been killing the whole time he's been on stage, and I said, "Do you realize he has not delivered a single punchline?" He has not.
But he's been funny the whole time.
Yeah, he has not done a setup punchline tag.
Oh, interesting.
The whole. I mean, it's not like he didn't the whole special, but it's like he hadn't even delivered a punchline yet. He was just saying things in a funny way,
Nice.
delivering it the right way, putting the right intonation on stuff. You know, it was just. Yeah,
That's
it was
part
kind of crazy to watch. But yeah, my dad had. Anyway, I had always my whole life, probably since my. I remember when I was like in junior high, because I was born in '72. So comedy, there was that comedy boom.
72 what?
1972.
1972?
I'm 53 years old. I am 53 years old, but ladies, I can still fuck like I'm only 51. Let me tell you that right now. Chuck Fury Comedy on Instagram, furiouscomedy.com. That's my socials.
Do you have your calendar on there for dates?
Yeah, actually, when somebody says,
I should have that. That's a good idea. Dates, possible dates, availability.
Oh, I meant like comedy dates, but yeah, I should.
No, I meant like date dates.
Oh yeah, that. Well, yeah, we just like to. I've been married and divorced 3 times. We don't like to date anymore. We just like to fuck.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm honest about that. I don't bullshit about that, and it works. It's you'd be surprised.
So why did you get into comedy?
Okay, yeah, my whole life I had fantasized about this. But when I was young, this is why I brought up. It wasn't a cool thing to do. It was like kind of like there'd always be one kid in the school, and he might be one of the cool kids, but the talent show would come or whatever for the school, and he'd do stand up, and he would suck, and everybody. It was just looked down on, but I still wanted to do it. Anytime I'd have a fucked up situation in my life, I would fantasize about telling about it on stage, and I'm seeing.
You have a lot of material.
Yeah, I should have more, but I'm seeing myself on stage, like looking at the audience, telling the story. And by the time my third marriage ended, like I raised a family, my kids were out the house. My third marriage was the one that actually should have worked. It was the long one, but it's literally that line in the Fight Club movie. And no, I'm not like I didn't read the books. I tried to read one of the books and it just wasn't as good.
I had that line on here, but
oh yeah, it wasn't as good as the movie. But it said it's only when we lose everything that we're free to do anything. And I'd experienced that before in my life because I'm a recovered drug addict, alcoholic, whatever you want to call that as well. But it was literally like, oh, you can do this now. And I wanted to do it. I'd done stuff on stage my whole life.
So you felt like hitting, if I could say what you're saying is like rock bottom, gave you the availability to actually start doing comedy?
To a degree, because I had been, when my marriage...
Because it sounds like...
Yeah, when my last marriage fell apart, I had been sober for 20 years at that point. And I didn't relapse. I was doing stuff the way you're supposed to do it. And I still lost everything that I lost when in my active addiction when I came into recovery, and but it was ultimately this freeing thing. Like, wow, you can literally do whatever you want. Your kids are already grown and out the house. You've lost everything. You can literally do whatever you want now. So I literally started living on the street in my car.
Nice.
Yeah, that was more of a. That was kind of a thing. It was by choice at first, if you believe that, because I hated sleeping alone. I'd been sleeping next to somebody for the previous 20 years, and it was like
I think everyone feels that way unless they're snoring.
I hated waking up.
Unless they're snoring or something.
I hate waking up alone in a bed, and so I would sometimes sleep in the car in my driveway or pull into a parking lot after work and sleep, and then go home. And then I was just renting, and at some point the landlord sold the house and was like, "Hey, this is the date you got to be out by." And I was like,
"So he told you at least?"
Yeah, I was like, "Why the fuck do I want to pay rent?" Like, and so I started living in my car, and then at some point gas prices went way high, and it became not by choice.
Was that here?
Yeah, that was I was like, it was. And that was a weird story too. I mean, you want to talk about success, and this is an old cheesy line, but I fully believe it. Like, really, success isn't getting what you want; it's wanting what you got. Because I remember nights living in that car,
and kind of being grateful for what you have.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I wasn't aspiring to anything else or thought I was going to live in a car the rest of my life, but it was very nice to do comedy living in the car because they opened the Vegas Wiseguys. I could go back and forth. I could So it was cold. I would always be up here at least once a week to do the Wise Guys mic up here.
So you went back and forth.
Yeah, but when it was cold, I would be down like St. George, Las Vegas, because I can do the Wise Guys down there on the open mics, and then I can come up here in the summertime when it's hot down there.
That's cool.
But I'd be back and forth a lot the whole time. But I would be like, so I would drive DoorDash basically. That's what I did. That and comedy and.
Must have a good car, man.
Well, at first I was living in the rental cars because before COVID hit, I was in the Lyft cars.
Oh, the rental.
Yeah, I do the Lyft rentals, and and they didn't know I was living in the car, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah, well, of course they didn't know.
Yeah, you switch it out every 3 months, and then, but I was living in some shittier cars once I just switched exclusively to DoorDash. But when COVID hit, Lyft went to shit, so I started driving DoorDash, but still paying the rent on that car. Because as long as you just did like one ride a week or a month or something, you could keep it. Yeah, so I would do that. But I remember I'd be like,
I was just putting the mileage together. Vegas,
yeah,
St. George, Salt Lake. That's a lot of mileage.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't in Utah, I would DoorDash a lot. It's called Lehigh, in this place called Thanksgiving Point. It's a fairly upper middle class to upper class. There's some money there, a lot of corporate stuff.
Very affluent.
Yeah, extremely affluent. And I remember
they call it Silicon Slopes.
Yes, yeah, Silicon Slopes, yeah. But I would be sometimes at night in the car thinking about how lucky I was, because how many people in the world would kill to be where I was at, living in this car in the United States. But then, and this is gonna sound bad, but it's just I actually felt bad for the people who lived up there, because so many of them were chasing just status and just money and just corporate culture and what they looked like and what car they should have, instead of what actually made them happy. And it was the weirdest thing to be homeless.
They would argue with you about that.
Yeah, but I'd be homeless, living in my car, watching these people. You see a lot of stuff when you're delivering food to people or interacting with them at the restaurants you're picking up. And I wouldn't talk to them about it, but I just remember thinking, like, God, this soulless exists. I'm literally homeless, serving food to these people, going, thank God I'm not them. Like, thank God I got the life I got. Like, I'm literally living in my car going, God damn, I'm Chuck Fury. How fucking lucky is that? It was fucking crazy. But I don't think it is. And I'm not homeless now. Shit got better. And like I said, I'm not saying don't aspire to anything. I'm just saying, when you chase what you love and do that, no matter the cost, the other shit comes. I feel like the money should be the byproduct of what you're chasing, not what you're chasing itself. And hell, I could be wrong on that. I'm wrong on most shit that comes out of my pie hole.
Well, how does it feel? I mean, that's why you're here.
It feels.
How does it feel? Do you feel like that's what you're doing?
I do, and like I said, I have bits and routines I do about. I'm not a very successful comic, but in reality, I started in 2019, but I did 3 open mics at the end of 2019. I bombed horribly, actually, the third one.
Wait, has that changed?
Huh?
Has that changed? The bombing?
Oh, no. No, but I did 3 the first 2 open mics I bombed and didn't know it, because I didn't know the difference between a laugh and a courtesy chuckle.
Oh, that's good.
The third open mic was actually January 1st, 2020, and I bombed so horribly I couldn't deny it. Like, other comics wouldn't look me in the eye. It was cringy. It was horrible.
They were like, oh,
yeah, Rodney Norman was. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, Rodney Norman was hosting that night. He'll usually shit on you. He was even avoiding me after. I was like, oh, and then so I went through a few months of, okay, number one, I'm door dashing for a living, which is during the open mic hour, so you got to kind of be selective when you do open mics, and but I'm door dashing, and I don't want to do that again, so I'm really taking time rewriting some bits and wanting to come up with something solid, and then COVID hits. I don't know the wise guys.
COVID, what's that?
Yeah, that
thing?
Yeah.
You don't worry about it anymore?
I after a few months, I didn't worry about it while it was happening, but I was scared at first. But I didn't know.
We all were.
Yeah,
I was wearing, I couldn't find gloves. I was going to the dollar store to buy stuff. I was wearing the yellow rubber gloves.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I was like, fuck, I mean, I didn't do it for long. After a while, I'm
right.
like, no one, I mean, people are dying, but they're not dying. And I'm like, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and I didn't like once the election season hit where the masks became a political statement. It was like if I didn't feel like wearing a mask that day, I didn't wear a mask. But if I did, whatever. I put it on sometimes, but once that became, it was like, because I'm not on either side of that shit, and I was like, Jesus Christ, if I go into the store wearing a mask, I'm a Democrat. If I go in not wearing it, I'm a Republican. You know, it's just
or an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I was an asshole anyway, but yeah, I felt like before I just felt like, well, I'm just gonna be me if I don't feel like wearing a mask that day.
Yeah, I remember that. Some people would make you wear.
Yeah,
you
but
don't see masks as much anymore.
No.
Once in a while.
No, and then it turned out that was all, by the science, that was all bullshit anyway. Regardless of where you fell on that, like that virus wasn't being stopped by any form of mask, regardless of how good it was.
Yeah. True. What's your plans like for comedy? What is it you'd like to do? What are some of your goals?
The main goal is it'd be nice to be like, you know, a household name, but the main goal, again, it kind of goes back to kind of in those lines of wanting what you got, and instead of getting what you want. I just want to just do that for a living. Right now, I still work part-time. That's what I was saying. I'm only 4 years in because I took 18 months off during COVID. I didn't know Wiseguys had opened again after 2 months. I'm just listening
That's when I started, right when they opened.
Yeah, and I'm just listening to
I was like, for me, I was like, well, fuck. I could do this. And I was in that point. It's similar to what you're saying, but my mindset was like, if there's something I could do, why don't I do it to experience life and live?
Yeah.
And I don't mean, for me, it's not extreme sports, right? I mean, I snowboard and stuff, but extreme sports don't get it for me because you could die.
Yeah.
You could die, right?
Yeah.
I probably won't die on stage.
No, but it will feel like it a lot.
Oh yeah, feels like you might want to die.
Sometimes you would rather be dead.
You're like, someone just kill me now, please.
Yeah.
You know. So for me, that's why I started. But I started right at the tail of COVID, where they were changing the mics and spraying it and stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's like they just lick the mic and no one cares.
Exactly. Yeah. But honestly, I joke about not being a very successful comic, but being actually just 4 years in where I'm doing paid shows, it's like I got no business being where I'm at right now as far as how the timeline.
So what I see, you're very committed.
Yes. Yeah. I was comedy first.
You're very serious before your set.
Yeah.
You walk around. I'm assuming you're thinking about your set or something. You're like very serious.
Yeah, I'm usually like, and
you look like you're gonna kick someone's ass.
Really, I didn't know that. But it used to be. Yeah, and it still is a lot. It used to be like planning out, going over in my head, and now it's still that, but it's like also like, what's the audience laughing at? What's if once I'm on deck, what's the person in front of me saying? Should I switch this up and talk about something else? Because this is what's hitting, or it'd be cool to riff off of this, or I got a bit that goes with
That's tricky too.
Yeah,
from my experience.
It's very, but I'm.
Sometimes I've gone with a plan, the jokes I'm going to tell, and I do none of it.
Yeah,
because of how everything landed.
Yeah, as far as actual shows where you're not, I'm not talking open mics, but actual shows. I think the two worst bombs I've ever had on an actual show. Was the 2 times I was not nervous at all before I went on stage. Mm-hmm. And so now whenever I'm nervous, like, okay, this is a good, if I'm not nervous, now I'm like, it'll make me nervous because I'm, what the hell, I should be, yeah. And I think what it is you learn how to read a room, but you also, I think when I get to the point where I'm not so nervous anymore, it's because I've been killing so much, I start to feel bomb-proof. And I will come in and I'll read this room and I'll know I shouldn't say something in this room.
And you say it anyway?
I'll say it again because I think those 2 times, and this is a while ago, but it's because I think I'm so fucking good and so fucking bomb-proof, and then you find out the hard way, like, no, you can't just drop that joke you were going to tell in front of this crowd and then think that if they don't laugh at it, you can recover from it by just breaking out your best shit after, because that was sadly not the case. Both times it was murder half the set, and then dead silence the second half. And they were back-to-back nights. It was crazy. Yeah, it was insane.
What would you say if someone wanted to get into comedy? What would be the advice you'd give them?
This is going to sound harsh.
Don't do it.
90% of comics, go with your gut after that first open mic. But here's the problem. Really, like, okay, you go to enough open mics, really, you're like, okay, after a while, you see some of you, like, they're not going to they're not going to get any better to the point that this is going to be. But if they're enjoying it, but you just don't know, because like I sucked it. I have always been able.
Sometimes I feel better when someone's like that because I know I'm better than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I feel bad. I feel like my ego's like, I feel bad because they're going through the same experience. But I'm like, I know I'm funnier than that, right?
Yeah. But when I first started, everything in my life, whatever I've wanted to do, I've been able to just be good at it and honestly be able to half-ass it, which has worked against me. When I got into comedy, it became, especially during COVID, and then watching sets back and realizing that I bombed those first 2 sets as well. But thinking like, realizing like, not only am I not naturally good at this, I'm naturally good, like the funny guy with my friends, a lot of us are, but not only am I not naturally good at this, like in my mind at that time is like, I'm gonna have to work hard at this, and then I'm still not gonna be like, because I can usually half-ass stuff and be in the top 10% or whatever, and it's like I am gonna have to work.
I think if you work hard enough, you can.
Yeah, but I remember thinking I'm gonna have to work really hard at this, and I'm not gonna be. Maybe I can be in the top half, and it's gonna be a long time before I get good at this. And once I started working hard at this, and it was not like I wouldn't have done that anyway, I guess, but I thought it was gonna come easy to me like everything else had, and then it didn't. Like, it's gonna sound arrogant, but locally, I mean, I am one of the top comics locally. It was like it came once I put in the effort. I thought it was gonna be a lot tougher, and a lot of it is just getting over fears on stage and not just doing the shit that you're scared to do because you're so afraid of that silence. If you wait an extra 2 beats to get the laugh on this joke that's a callback, or it's a little harder for them to.
What's a callback?
A callback would be like referencing a joke. So here's, people probably gonna hate this, but I don't care. I'm gonna do so.
Is this like magician tricks?
No. It's just it's weird sometimes to do stage routines on a podcast.
Oh yeah.
But so, and you probably
or people always like. People will tell me on a date, or a friend will tell me a joke.
Oh, that's the worst.
That.
Yeah, when somebody says tell me a joke.
I try to tell it a way that it works.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have one in the
it's
chamber.
Different on stage. That's
if I think I'm going to be in that situation, sometimes I have a few in the chamber, because it's like, when they ask you that dead, and it's like, it's so different being on stage, and you can't explain it to somebody who had an experience. But I got like a string of jokes that I do to open, and that are pretty PG-ish. But one of them talks about, and this is probably one that you've heard, but I've been getting to go out of town a little bit lately, kind of reference not being a successful comic somewhere along the line. But I like going to small towns because they do stuff different. They don't follow the rules. Like, you go into a store in the city, the bathroom always got that sign on the wall that says shoplifters will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah. That's true. I do see those.
And I'll make a reference somewhere along the line of like, I like driving on the road trips, and it's not just because I'm not a big enough name to fly. And then I say, that's not even relevant to the punchline. I don't know why I said that, but I was up in this little town near Bend, Oregon. They had a sign on the bathroom. It said, "Thieves have small wieners." I was like, damn, I guess I got to steal something now. And I'll hit a few tags on that. And then I'll tell a few other jokes that are kind of in that vein of being on the road, getting to go out of state and stuff. But then I'll come back and I'll reference how, like I said before, I'm not a very successful comic. I still have to work part-time, a graveyard shift. I work in a parking garage overnight. And one of the first things I do when I come in is I check all the doors to see if any of them are unlocked in this parking garage. I do that
too when I park.
Yeah, but that's part of the job, which is actually the job I have. But I go I check all the doors. I was doing this the other night, and this guy comes running up to me and says, "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, listen, you moron, I work here."
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you the parking lot attendant?" I go, "No, I'm a thief."
Yeah.
And then the audience laughs, and I go, "Yeah, he laughed too. He thought I was joking." I told him, "What, you don't believe me? I will show you my wiener right now." That's a callback where the punchline you have to have, you don't get that punchline unless you remember the previous joke that was earlier in the set. So that's a very long-winded explanation of a callback that is not nearly as entertaining as when there's an actual audience there.
It is. You see, that was a good example.
And you want to space it a little bit too, because if I do those jokes back to back, you don't want them to see the callback coming, because the whole a punchline is really just
sneaky.
You're swerving them. You're
sneaky,
taking them an area they didn't expect to go. And so, like, if they see the punchline coming, so I do that joke, 2 more jokes. But if you wait too long, they might not remember or make the connection quick enough. You don't want to sit there in silence for 5 seconds before they start laughing, because then they're probably not gonna laugh anyway. But I did learn, like, early on, like, some jokes that they have to think about. I remember there was one that I would always like, why aren't they getting this joke?
Yeah, I've heard comics sometimes say, "It's all right, I'll wait for you."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
and sometimes I've heard them start laughing, creeping on it.
Yeah, I do this. It's just a blowjob joke, but it's implied that it's my cousin, and you have to. But it's something you really have to think about, because it's like somebody confront me about, it's about getting sober and being able to remember what I did the night before and having awkward conversations, and because now people know I can remember what I did the night before, and saying stuff like, no man, I absolutely did not have sex with your niece last night. Maybe she gave me a little blowjob, but that's it.
That's it.
Sorry, Dad. But you have to connect him, and if I'm saying this to my dad and it's his niece, that's my cousin, and so I would tell that joke and I'd be so nervous I'd immediately go on to the next one and like, why don't they get that? And then I started to notice they'd laugh, but I'd be walking on the laughs, and I was like, okay, I've got to give them a second.
I do that sometimes too when I'm nervous or I didn't hear it.
Well, when you're new,
I'm so ready to keep performing. I didn't keep with the performance.
For me, I was so scared. I was so scared.
I made a joke and I didn't give him a chance to laugh.
I would be so scared to not get the laugh that I would, because even 1 second, you sit there for 1 second and you're like, boom, yeah, now it's time to laugh, motherfucker. And if they don't, that is so scary when you're new. Now it's no big deal. I know how to deal with that if it happens. But I remember thinking about that joke like, oh, you have to put that together, and it takes more than, it's not an immediate laugh. They have to think about that one for a minute. The average person has to think about that to put it together. So give them a half a second. But then it occurred to me, literally, in any big crowd, half the people in this crowd are going to be below average intelligence. So you need, on that joke, you need to give them a full second. And then I thought, and at least half these people are going to be drinking. So on that particular joke, give them, and 2 seconds is an eternity on stage too, but give them a full 2 seconds. But what you usually get is on jokes that are harder to get like that, you'll get half the audience starts laughing during that first second, and then you can just sit there and wait, and you hear the laughter build. And it's not every joke, but it's jokes that are like that. And you literally are watching the half that's below average intelligence, either getting it or going, oh shit, everybody else is laughing, I better laugh too. It's kind of crazy.
Cool. Well, tell us about your upcoming show.
On my website there's always shows, but the big one is January 24th at Wiseguys, and that's like I said, in Rickles Room, wiseguyscomedy.com or furiouscomedy.com. Links to the tickets.
He has merch too. I had a picture of your merch in my little presentation.
I do have merch. If you could not tell,
that is yours.
This jersey I actually don't sell.
This is baseball. It's your personal.
Yeah, people keep asking to buy this, and I
sell it.
Yeah, I should. I just
off your back.
For me, it was just something that I wear on stage. This particular one, because it's kind of expensive, and it's like
and I'm sure it is.
And you have to wait forever to get them. It's not like just printing a T-shirt, they're embroidered jersey, but I might start selling them. But what the hell were we even talking about? Oh, the show. Yeah, the show. And the reason it's not till January is because that's a better month to sell tickets. But the big reason is I'm doing this show. It'll be edgy PG, but it's going to be rated PG. And
can you do that?
Oh yeah.
You can.
But I want to make sure that I have at least 45 minutes of material that is up to snuff. I need. There's some jokes that I've made cleaner, but a lot of people don't realize at the open mics lately, like with the Wise Guys open mic on Wednesdays, that I'm like actually working rated PG a lot lately. Whenever I open for somebody, unless they tell me to open dirty, I open clean. Even if I know it's okay to open dirty for this, if they don't tell me to open dirty, like I opened for Alfred Robles, worked PG. He didn't know us, and that's the thing. And Wise Guys isn't advertising this show as PG. They're just not putting the R rating on it. Because what I talked about,
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, what I talked about.
Ratings on the shows.
A lot of times, what I talked about with Keith, the owner, was I want people to come in and leave the show not realizing they just saw a rated PG show. Mm-hmm. And Key was like, yeah, that's when comedy is good. Because people with me, they assume that it's going to be dirty.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And a lot of times, or sometimes okay, this past Wednesday, all the material I did was PG. The riff that I did was not PG. Is because I was following Jay Thaniano, and he does his dating after divorce thing, and I've been sex trafficked, and it's very cringy, Jay, but I've told you this to your face. But yeah, so when I followed him, it was just kind of like, here for Jay Thaniano, the dating after divorce comedian. That guy got bitches, and they laughed at that just because if you've seen Jay, and I'm like, if I had half the bitches that Jay had, I'd have at least half a bitch. Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, and then it was like after that I could do, but then the audience didn't know I was actually working PG material the rest of the time anyway. I might have thrown in a shit that I wouldn't normally throw in, and you probably get away with that once or twice on a PG show anyway, but just because I'd already gone rated R.
Why should they come see you on January 24th?
Because I'm fucking.
And how do they get tickets?
Because I'm fucking hilarious. That's why you come see me. Because the tickets are only $18, and if.
So $20.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, you're out. You're out $20 if you don't like it. I mean, shit, but you'll like it. It'll be cool. But no, I don't want people who, because there are a small handful of people who will come to a show of mine at Wiseguys, but if they're told that it's not going to be dirty, they might not buy a ticket. Here's good comedy is just good comedy. I'm not like a clean comedy. I just gravitate toward dirty. But I remember watching when Ty Rivera lived in Las Vegas. I'd watch his little podcast every week because it was not so political back then. But he was talking because Gaffigan was coming to Vegas, and he was talking about he was talking about, man, Gaffigan is great, but he said, can you really do clean comedy in Vegas? This is how good Gaffigan is. I remember thinking in my head, because I'm a fan of dirty comedy, but I don't, like I said, as far as funny's funny, but I went, what the fuck is he talking about? Gaffigan's not clean. I'm literally, as a comedian, going, Gaffigan's not clean. And I'm going back, listening to his stuff, going, holy shit, this guy is squeaky clean. He's not just clean, he's like dry bar clean. And he's fucking hilarious. And then obviously the next week, Ty's podcast was like, man, I got to apologize to Jim. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah. Of course you can do clean comedy in Vegas, and this is Jim Gaffigan. It don't matter even if you, but that's kind of the thing for me. And it's kind of like the test. Like if people think that I'm being, and I'm always being Chuck Fury, that's kind of the secret, is just be yourself and turn it up to 11. God, man, I feel like I'm just babbling and you're not getting the answer. But that was one.
No, I want you to speak.
So one of the
guest is one that has something to say.
One of the problems I don't know how boring this is for people. If you're into comedy, maybe it's not. But
we're not on anymore. No, I'm just
kidding. We ran out of time. When I first started those first 3 mics, I'd done a lot of public speaking. I had been in a rap group before. This is back before rap was mainstream, but it was getting national play on the underground shows and shit around the nation. And I knew, just kind of being a fan of it, was getting national play on the underground shows and shit around the nation. And I knew, just kind of being a fan of this white boy trying to act black.
They'll get scared.
Yeah, well, there's just gonna be like this. Who's this white boy trying to be black? Because if and so I tried to cover my accent. When I watched the old videos, I was not covering it very well. But it maybe almost sounded like I was trying to put on an accent because I'm trying to cover it. But I would try to do this loser white guy routine that had been done to death by people who actually know how to do it. But the problem was, even though I was living in my car, I didn't feel like a white guy. I didn't feel like a loser. It wasn't me, and I felt like I was writing.
Interesting.
I felt like I was writing good jokes, but I was writing them for somebody else. And so then in the middle of COVID, I'm watching these old videos and realizing I didn't just suck my 3rd time. I sucked all the way around. And I just remember thinking, why do I still want to do this? But I knew I needed to do this, and I loved this, and and I'm stressing on all, and it finally occurs to me, like, why don't you just be yourself? Like, 'cause the thought was literally, they already hate you.
So be yourself.
Yeah, they already hate you.
So
what
January 24th, Wise Guys.
Wise
They
Guys.
can get tickets at
wiseguyscomedy.com
wiseguyscomedy.com
or
or
furiouscomedy.com.
furiouscomedy.com. He also has merch if you're interested. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh my God,
I appreciate
I didn't
it.
talk that long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
anyway,
you're good.
anyway, long story short, I just did good when I was myself on. Like, once the COVID ended, my first setback, it was like night and day. And
Yeah, we got that.
yeah.
We got that.
But
You don't
yeah.
suck anymore.
I probably still suck, but I can at least live in the delusion that I don't at
That
this
you don't?
point.
Because people laugh.
I can lie to myself at this
people
point.
laugh, yeah.
Man, we had talking points. We did not get to any
We
of them
did.
because
We talked
we didn't
about
get to half of them
We got to it.
because I am a long-winded bastard.
But it's
Well,
cool.
here's the thing. Luckily, we're breaking the fourth wall here. There's a whiteboard here with talking points. But most of this shit also, because I'm very autobiographical in my comedy. So just come to the show. You'll get to see all the shit we didn't get to today because I'm going to talk about this shit on stage anyway.
There you go. January
This is
24th, after Christmas. Pre-buy your tickets and then you're set. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you,
and the
brother.
effort. Thanks for posting it on your website. I saw that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
appreciate it. Keep your eyes and ears out for our next show, UltraPerform Show. You can find it on Spotify, TikTok, eventually Facebook and Instagram again. Where else? Anywhere you listen to podcasts, by the way. Podbean, Apple Music, Google this, all of that.
I wonder if you got kicked
Thank
off of
you,
Meta
folks.
because I was coming on.
Because you were coming on? Maybe. Maybe. See you, folks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I forgot we were...
You're good.